I've been thinking a lot lately about perfect timing, and being here is perfect timing, of course. And one thing recently in like the past few days that I really heard for the first time, and when I looked at the date of the YouTube video I was listening to, it was 11 years ago. So it's nothing new, but it's about whenever you have like a burning desire that you want.
So let's back up a little bit, because that burning desire is part of the problem. People have tried to get you to think that if you'll just want it enough, if you'll want it so much that it hurts, then you'll get it. And we say, as soon as you stop hurting.
Yeah.
And the thing that we really want to say to you is, we're not trying to talk you out of your desires. Your desires will not go away, because your inner being is all over them. And the law of attraction is already gathered up. There's already momentum about them. In fact, do you know, it's like this. We want so much for that person to know this, but she couldn't even stay in the room to hear it. Here's what it is. When you really, 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 really want something, but you are so aware that you're not getting it right now, you can't get it. It is impossible to get it. It cannot come. And once you figure out that, oh, it's all queued up for me, but I'm holding it out because you can't look at the absence of something and the presence of something at the same time. You just can't. When Jerry died, Esther couldn't find him, and it really bothered her because it hurt so bad for him to not be there. And she was so mad at herself because she'd been doing Abraham for all of these years. And if anybody should be able to tune into non-physical, it ought to be Esther. And she couldn't find Jerry. She's screaming about it. You said, why can't I? And once she settled down, we said, you got to look for him where he is, not where he isn't. And in a similar way, you got to look for what you're wanting to find. Here's the thing. If you ask yourself the question, why do I want this? I want it because I think I'll feel better if that happened. Then what do you mean feel better? Well, I think my discomfort would subside. Yeah, we get the sense of what that feels like. I think that I'd get my balance a little better. Yeah, that's easy to feel. I think I'd feel soothed, supported, loved, seen. I would just feel better. I would just feel better. And you know, that much of a conversation with yourself is what the magic is.
Yeah.
It's what the magic is.
Yeah. So I've been having a lot more fun, and I typically always do. So when I say burning desire, for me, what I've redefined it as is something that has kind of the most active rockets for me, and its latest, like, queued up next thing coming in or something.
Well, if by a burning desire you mean that thing that when I wake up, it's what I'm thinking about. If you mean that thing that when I'm talking to somebody, that's what I want to talk about. If you mean that's the thing that I'm noticing in the most places. If you mean by a burning desire, it's that thing that I just can't get it off my mind. It's something that when I think about it, I feel a variety of these things. I feel interest and satisfaction and hopefulness sometimes, and positive expectation and belief. I feel enthusiasm and passion and eagerness. I feel joy, I feel knowing. In other words, those are the feelings that you're reaching for.
Yeah.
And so you say you want to practice, so let's practice the feeling of jealousy. Just for a minute. Because half the people in this room are jealous of you. So let's practice the feeling of blame. So we don't even really have to say very much. Just saying the word, you feel it, don't you? And it's not hard because you got plenty of data in your life of you said you'd do that and you didn't, or you didn't keep your promise to me, or you're not listening to me, or you're not ever going to leave me a big inheritance because you don't have any money. We're playing with you on the lower half of the scale. So let's find the feeling place of contentment. We're using the word contentment specifically rather than satisfaction, even though it's the same vibration. But think about contentment. Think about moments in time that you feel contentment. Not enthusiasm, not passion. We're not asking for that. Contentment. Esther likes it when she first sits down at a restaurant with people that she likes to be with, and they get settled in, and she's just kind of taking it all in, and it's like, here we are. She likes looking around at them. She likes taking in the place. She likes looking over the menu and knowing that there's so much good stuff. Everybody's going to find something it's just that knowing, even before it happened, that this is going to be way good. That feeling of contentment. Do you know that just a conversation with yourself like that shores you up? Talk about preparing yourself for the next segment where you're entering the field of attraction. We're going to give some to you in just a minute. We're just showing you how the game is played. So the feeling of positive expectation. Now, expectation is just a practiced bag of marbles, but positive expectation is a practiced bag of marbles that matches your inner being's active marbles. So it's something that you want and believe. It's positive expectation. What does it feel like to positively expect something? What's that feeling feel like? Feels like strong, feels like sure, feels like steady, feels like alrighty then, feels like this is going to be fun, feels like don't know what this is going to be, but I know I like it already. Feels like, ooh, I can feel something bubbling. Feels like, ooh, I feel like I'm in the right place. Doesn't it? Don't you love sitting down, turning on the NFL game or whatever? Esther started to like them all with your feeling about who's going to win. Can you feel it? Can you feel your kids coming home from school and you know they're going to be hungry and you made cookies? Can you feel that? Can you feel your kids coming home from school? You know they're going to be hungry and grouchy and you've got nothing in the house? Because you can reach into the atmosphere or into your room and you can decide in advance how what's going to happen would make you feel. By feeling in advance what's going to happen after it happens. That's what we're talking about here. It's like demonstrating to the universe on a vibrational level what you would like. And do you know how many things could converge in a very short space of time that match one of those emotions? Oh, when you get good at this and you have opened the floodgates to a whole bunch of things that you've been asking for, and it just goes from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, to another, it almost takes your breath away. You know what the upshot of that is? You feel worthy. You feel blessed. You feel seen and you feel sure. But you've got to demonstrate it to yourself, because there's not enough source energy in the world to zap you with that feeling if you haven't found a way to let it in. Because it's the law of attraction. It's not the law of assertion. It's not the law of demanding. It's the law of attraction. It's the law of wanting and letting it in. Want to play? Want to pick one?
Yeah.
Give us the feeling of freedom.
Freedom feels like ease to me. It feels like
natural.
It feels natural. It feels like...
Or does it feel like something that you need to earn, or does it feel like shade?
It feels like shade. It feels like relief and like whatever I want to do.
Freedom. Give us some more.
Freedom feels like acceptance. It feels like allowing. It feels like...
All right, so now we're going to say to you, too vague.
Okay, yeah. I was actually at the Amsterdam workshop, and I love that segment. So
freedom feels like sureness, not doubt. It feels like sureness. Sometimes when you're trying to identify something, you can poke around at the other end of it. That'll stir it up, as long as it's not something that's really bothering you, that's going to drag you off into the bushes for a minute. So freedom feels like choosing. Freedom feels like having the wherewithal to do what I want. Freedom feels like a friend calling and saying, what you doing? And you saying, what you doing? And you say, well, let's do something together. And you say, okay, what do you want to do? And you say, I don't know, let's just get together and then decide. And you say, well, how are you dressed? And I say, well, I don't look very good. And they say, well, I don't look very good. And they say, let's clean up a little bit and let's go out and let's find something really fun to do. And you got any money? Yeah, I got some money. I got some money too. All right, let's go do something really good to do. Where are we going to go? I don't know, somewhere in the city. We'll go somewhere in the vicinity of where we are. Let's get together and let's just be called to it. But I know one thing, damn girl, it's going to feel fun. It's going to feel fun. It's going to feel like... So you don't have the limitations of not being ready, because you can look like that really easily. You don't have any shortcomings of not enough money, because you've prepaid for this. You know you can afford to do whatever you want to do. You know that it's always good when you get with that person. You know that you do have a sort of magic thing together. And so can't you feel that feeling of freedom? And didn't it move just a little bit into passion, just a little bit?
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel good to feel like that? And when you feel like that, don't magical things happen? When you feel like that, isn't that when doors open to you and just look at each other? Jerry and Esther would look at each other, and Esther said, I'm glad you saw that, because nobody would believe what just happened.
Yeah.
One day they were reading a book that somebody had given them, and Jerry was reading the preface of it that someone else had written. It was a book about prosperity, and the preface was about that. And this person was talking about when you find a penny or any change, see it as a sign of prosperity and acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it. And Jerry and Esther were nodding and agreeing that noticing something, you go for a long time and not talk about something and then get on the subject, and everywhere you look, there it is. Even rare things. It's really interesting. If you're interested in something with no resistance, it will show up. And you might want to ask, well, wasn't it going to be there anyway? That's really the point we're making. Yes, maybe it was going to be there anyway, but you weren't going to see it. Maybe the love of your life was going to be there, but you were going to miss it. Maybe the opportunity that you've been looking for was already going to be there, but you weren't going to be anywhere in the vicinity. So what does it matter? It's a convergence of you and what you want. And so they were talking about pennies, and everywhere they were looking, there were pennies. Esther said, do you think we should keep them all? Jerry said, I don't know. We're getting quite a lot of them. Can we put them in your purse? Esther said, I guess so. So they're gathering up pennies, and went on for days. Pennies everywhere. It was uncanny. Esther said, you're messing with me, aren't you? Jerry said, you're messing with me, aren't you? It was too many pennies to be normal. It was too many pennies. It didn't make sense. Somebody's messing with us. You know how the phones are, Somebody's listening to us on our devices, and then they got on an airplane, and they were in the bulkhead in first class. And they were sitting right up at the front of the plane, and the plane is taking off, and Jerry's looking down, and he says, Esther, you're not going to believe this, but look at your feet. And she looked down. There were 2 pennies that, because of the acceleration of the airplane, were standing on their edge. And Jerry said, okay. You can ask the universe what you want for proof. Universe, I'd feel more sure about this if you could present this to me. And the universe, coming back to you in our voice, will say, find the feeling place. Don't just stand here and yell at us. Find the feeling place. Don't just demand it from the universe. Find the feeling place.
I like it.
Enough?
Period.
Yeah.